Hello, boys and girls. We're on chapter 13, lesson 4, find unknown measures. It sounds scary, doesn't it? There's an unknown measure. Oh my goodness. No, it doesn't really sound scary. I'm just being silly. So you have to find unknown. That means you do not know measures. So they give you some information, but not everything. So for numbers 2 and 3, the directions say, find the unknown measure of the rectangle. All right, so we, are dealing with A for area and P for perimeter. Area and perimeter, right? Now remember the formula for area. Length times width. And then perimeter, do you guys remember what perimeter is? It's the distance around a figure. Perimeter is all about lines, length, right? Not about what's inside, just about how long the outside pieces are. So number 2, we know that the perimeter is 42 meters, and they want to know the unknown measure, the length. Okay, so guys, if you remember, we talked about rectangles a few lessons ago and how you guys know a lot about rectangles. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a little random rectangle over here. And if I say, hey, guess what? That side's 4 centimeters. And then I said to you, how long is this side? You would know it was 4 centimeters because you guys know about rectangles. You know that the parallel sides are the same length, right? Got those right angles in there, all that good stuff. So if I said, oh, this side is 9 centimeters, well, then how long is this side? 9 centimeters, right? So let's look at number 2. It says that we know that this side is 9 meters. So what else do we absolutely know? Because we know so much about rectangles, we know that this side is 9 meters, right? And that's basically it. And that the perimeter is 42 meters. Okay, so 42 is the same as or equals 9, right? Right there, plus 9 right there, plus that and that, the other two sides of that figure. So those 4 numbers make 42. How about, what do you think, boys and girls? If we take the 9 and the 9, that's 9 plus 9, of course, you know, is 18, right? So if we take the 18 away from the 42, what we'll have left is the distance of these 2 sides. Now this is a really good instance to use a bar diagram. Okay, so the perimeter is 42. The rectangle has 4 sides. A side that's 9, another side that's 9, and then 2 other sides that are the unknown measures. Okay, so if we take the 9 and the 9 out of 42, we're going to have what's left for the other 2 sides. So let's do 42 minus, what's 9 plus 9? 18. All right, 42, take away 18. We have to regroup here. 3, 12 minus 18, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. So that's the 18 that we just took away from the 42. And those 2 sides together are 24. Okay, so if together they're 24, and we know so much about rectangles, we know that this side and this side are congruent or equal in length. Same size, same shape, congruent, right? We know those two sides are the same. So that 24, we are going to divide it into 2 equal parts. Do you guys know what half of 24 is? I bet you do, don't you? Right? So think of this. Break apart 24. What's half of 20? 10. What's half of 4? 2. What's half of 24? 12 and 12. 12 and 12. So 9 plus 9 plus 12 plus 12 is 42. So the length of this figure is 12 meters. Okay, now let's try number 3. This time they're telling us what the area is. Okay, now let's take a look up here again. Area is length times width. Okay, so they only give us one side length here. It's 4 centimeters. All right, so the area is 28, so I'm going to do a little line right here. Okay, so 28, the area, that's what they're telling us, equals or is the same as 4 times the mystery number, right? The unknown measure. So what's the unknown measure? What is the height of this rectangle? How many sets of 4 are in 28? Do you know that one? I bet you do know that one. Well, I know 4 times 5 is 20, right? 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. Okay? So what is the height of this figure? 7 centimeters. Length times width is the area. 7 centimeters. Very nice. All right, let's keep going, boys and girls. All right, this one's down at the bottom. Susie is an organic vegetable grower. Oh, that means she doesn't use any pesticides on her vegetable garden. She doesn't use any chemicals to kill the bugs or to fertilize or anything. The perimeter of her rectangular vegetable garden is 72 yards. The width of the vegetable garden is 9 yards. How long is the vegetable garden? Oh, okay, so we have an unknown measure. All right, so here's her vegetable garden. It is a rectangle. The perimeter is 72. So I'm just going to make a note of that right here. The perimeter equals 72 yards. Okay. What else do they tell us here that I can put? I like to organize the information. The width of the vegetable garden is 9 yards. Okay. 9 yards wide. How long is the vegetable garden? Question mark right there. Okay. So the information we have is we know the perimeter and we know the width. So how are we going to find the length or how long it is? Well, let's remember the perimeter of 72 equals that 9 yards plus, what else do we know about this? We know that this is also 9 yards. We know a lot about rectangles, don't we? So another 9 yards plus the mystery length plus really the other mystery length because we don't know either one of those sides, do we? And a rectangle has 4 sides. All right, so 72 equals 9 plus 9 plus blank plus blank. Now, do you remember how we did the bar diagram before? Okay. We know the total perimeter is 72. We know it has 4 sides. 9 and 9 are the ones that we totally know about. And then mystery, mystery. So guys, if we take the 2 9s that we already know away from that total 72, we'll see what we have left over here to deal with. Okay, so right here I'm going to do 72 minus, what's 9 plus 9? 18. Because those are the two sides we already know. 2 minus 8. I feel like this is very similar to the problem we did before. Okay, 12 minus 8 is 4. 6 minus 1 is 5. Okay, so 9 plus 9, we know it was 18. So that's this part of the perimeter. And now these two together are 54. It's not just one side that's 54. 54 is both this side and this side. So we have to separate 54 into 2 equal parts. Okay, so 2 equal parts. Oh, you guys are good at this, right? You might even be able to do that without doing long division, because I bet you know what half of 50 is, and I bet you know what half of 4 is. If you think about half of 50, think about quarters, right? And then, of course, you know half of 4 is 2. All right? Yeah, you got that. So I'm going to do the long division, though, because it's good to practice. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down the 4, 14. 2, now remember the D for divide again. 2 divided into 14. 7 times 2 is 14. Bink, bonk. Okay, so each of these sides is 27. So the length of Susie's vegetable garden is 27 yards. All right, 9 plus 9 plus 27 plus 27. 27 and 27 yards, of course. All right, nice work, boys and girls. Takes a few steps to get it, but it's not too bad, right? You got to persevere, though. You're too smart to give up. All right, here we are on the back, the lesson check. The area of a rectangular photograph is 35 square inches. If the width of the photo is 5 inches, how tall is the photo? All right, so a photograph. They're giving us the area of a rectangular photograph. Oh, let me use this. Okay, of a rectangular photograph. And they're just telling us area equals 35 square inches, right? Okay. The width of the photo, you see where I am reading? The width of the photo is 5. How tall? So the width of the photo is 5 square inches. Okay. Do you remember the formula for area? Area equals length times width. So the question is, here's the unknown measure. So area, which is 35, equals blank times the width. All right? You know it, don't you? I know you know it. 7 inches. Awesome. Yeah, very good, you guys. You're really putting together a lot of things you've learned in this chapter. All right, let's go to the review. This is from, I just crossed it out. It says Lesson 7, Chapter 10. Trust me. All right, number 6. Karen colors in squares on a grid. She colored 1/8 of the squares blue and 5/8 of the squares red. What fraction of the squares are not colored in? All right, so let's go back and reread this. I got to check this out here. She colors squares on a grid. So she colored 1/8 blue and 5/8 red. All right, so here's her grid. Now, when I draw the grid, I'm thinking, well, what did the grid look like? We can tell from that number right there, the denominator What does the denominator tell us, boys and girls? It tells us how many make the whole thing. That's the job of the denominator, right, guys? So 8 squares makes Karen's grid. She colored 1/8 of the squares blue. That's 1 out of 8 equal parts, right, boys and girls? 1/8 blue. And then she colored 5/8 of the squares red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I kind of randomly colored them, right? Okay. And the question they're asking is, what fraction of the squares are not colored in? Well, let's take a look over here. Not colored, not colored. That is 2 out of how many pieces make the whole thing? How many squares? 2 out of 8. So 2/8 are not colored in. I'm looking over here. 1/8, nope. 1/4, nope. 1/2, nope. 3/4, nope. Hey, my answer's not here. Gee, here's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to guess. 'Cause, yeah, no, no. Of course you don't do that. You guys are too smart to guess. Let's look back at 2/8 for a second. 2/8. Oh, that's right. I'm in 4th grade. I should really be thinking about putting my fractions in simplest form. We are going to put 2/8 in simplest form. Okay? So we're going to find an equivalent fraction that's the same as 2/8, but using the smallest numbers we possibly can. The same size as 2/8, I should say. Okay, so when we do simplest form, we have to find a common number we can divide both 2 and 8 by. Okay, so we're looking for a common factor. All right, and I bet you already know it because 2 only has 2 factors. It's a prime number. It only has 1 and 2. So if we use 1, we're just going to end up with 2/8 again. So we're going to divide by 2. And I know 8 is divisible by 2 because it's a lovely even number. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2. If you ever get stuck on division, just think, what times 2 is 8? Oh yeah, 4 times 2 is 8. So the answer is in simplest form, 1/4. And if you look at it, isn't that 1/4? It certainly is. You guys are awesome. I hope you have a super night.